I am also co-founder of Freedom Angels and founder of the Inform Mama.
Hi guys, my name is Heidi. I'm a co-founder of Freedom Angels and I live in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Hi all, I'm Tara, co-founder of Freedom Angels in the Sierra Nevada mountains of Northern California.
So today we're going to be talking about multiple different subjects. We've been seeing a lot of different articles in the news and different states coming out with their own type of quarantines. So we're just going to give you guys updates. We're doing lives at 5 every day during our California lockdown to just keep you guys updated with what's happening in our area. And if you guys have information on what's going on in your area that you would like to have us talk about, you can email us at freedomangels@protonmail.com. So we're going to start off with Heidi. Did you want to do your update, or do you want to start off on what's going on in the state of California with the gun shops?
I guess first I'll just do a quick update from Peru. You guys know that yesterday we had a live update with 2 moms who are stranded in Peru. They're just 2 of thousands of Americans that are stranded in Peru right now, and they both have children there with them. They are not with their husbands. It's really unfortunate that the more we try and get the story out, the more negative energy is coming back saying like, well, it's their fault for traveling during a pandemic. Wow, guys. So if we could try and raise the positivity, raise some hope and light for people that are stuck in a really, really bad situation right now. They're separated from their fathers and their husbands. Families are torn apart right now. So things have gone downhill since we talked last night with the kids. So this is becoming more and more serious by the day. Yes, Peruvians are great, wonderful people, but they're also in a state of crisis right now too. And they do not have the resources to manage all these extra Americans there right now. And so really this comes down to the US government has really failed in many, many ways in getting the Americans out. Other countries have gotten all of their citizens out of Peru, but America seems to be really having trouble. And there's news article after news article showing that the Americans walked off the job in the embassy. They left on one of the first flights out. Senator Rubio said the other day that now a senior state official is going into Peru to physically help get people out. So it's been a colossal disaster there. Yes, there was a plane that went today to Cusco and got 300 Americans out. Sadly, the 2 moms we interviewed yesterday, they were not on that plane. They still have received absolutely no notification from anybody about when their time is coming. So we are still in we still need to be holding them up in our prayers of keeping their health up, keeping their spirits up, keeping safety around them. So I just wanted to give that update from Peru.
You know, I really hope that people start understanding what situation they're in. I've been seeing some of the negative comments, and it's disheartening to see that in this kind of situation throughout, you know, with our health freedom and just in general as humans, that we don't know how to be empathetic anymore. We don't know how to say, you know, not say anything if you can't say anything nice. I mean, that's kind of where we have to go back to that. So again, we're hoping that, you know, our friends come back safe and soon, and everybody else who's out there is safe. You know, they're in a really bad situation, but hopefully they can come home, and hopefully they can come home to the United States, not being on lockdown the way that we're on lockdown. We're seeing every single state is starting to do that overreach of now the governors have power, more power than they normally have. And just like in San Jose, they're now shutting down these gun stores saying that they're non-essential. I don't know about you, but guns are absolutely essential during this time. People like to riot. people like to loot. People are, when they are desperate, they do desperate things. And we are in a society where you can't even afford to feed your family for a week, much less 3 months. So if that person has a gun, guess who's starving? Not the person with the gun. That's for sure. So we have these states overreaching. Sorry guys, I'm in my car. I'm trying to like get comfortable here. But we as Freedom Angels are very much Second Amendment supporters. We believe that this is going, you know, that we have it for a reason. So, oh, sorry, my phone's acting weird. So that's what's happening in San Jose. I don't know. Have you guys heard of any other stores doing that in any other cities?
Well, yes, I don't know if anybody watched, Gavin Newsom had another press conference today, and a reporter called in to ask about what's going on in LA because the sheriff of LA County said that he has ordered his staff to go, there's over 1,000 of them, and if he needs to, he's going to go gun shop by gun shop or non-essential business by non-essential business, and he is ordering these gun shops to be closed in LA County. And there was some discrepancy. He wasn't quite sure about what authority he had to do that or not. But then when Gavin did his press conference this afternoon, he said, absolutely, I'm leaving it in every sheriff's hands. So each sheriff in each county gets to make the determination. And while, yes, we absolutely support local authority, like that's where it needs to be, this is an outrageous overstep of the Constitution. That sheriff swore an oath to uphold the Constitution, and there is absolutely no executive order that supersedes the Constitution. So we've got a big problem in LA County right now. Tara, did you want to add to that?
Tara, you're on mute.
Oh, sorry. There. Well, if you want to know if something's essential or not, just look to the fact that there is an actual amendment in our Constitution about it. The Second Amendment is protective of it. If that doesn't prove essential nature, that the founders and original architects of the Constitution of the United States of America put in there for a reason. And I think it's really important here that I know we're going to talk about multiple issues today where you're seeing the politicizing of this issue and the partisan politicizing of it, which is completely unacceptable ever, honestly, but certainly not in a crisis. And honestly, it's, you know, our Constitution is non-negotiable. When the interpretation should always be going towards what the founders' intent was. And we know what it was on Second Amendment very clearly, is you have the right to bear arms, and it is essential, or it wouldn't be part of the, it wouldn't be a Second Amendment on it. Second Amendment. So,
you're right.
So again, this shows how important it is to have relationships with the sheriffs.
Yeah.
Because right now, where are these orders all coming from? These are departments of health. These are state departments of health that are coming up with these plans for how this should be handled, and governors are interpreting it or backing it in various ways in various states, and then mayors are running it, you know, following out their interpretations. And now it looks like we've got word from the governor that it is the sheriffs that will be policing a lot of this. So that's why having a relationship with your sheriffs and your local departments are going to be so important in times like this.
Right. A lot of people want to know, well, what can we do? How are we going to stop what the governor is doing? How are we going to stop what our local governor, or what our local, help me out here, our local people are doing? Make friends with your sheriff and talk with your sheriff, because they have to uphold they took an oath, and most sheriffs don't really understand how powerful they really are now. You know, I've talked to a few in different cities and or different counties, and they're not really sure what their power is anymore. Like, where did we lose that? So the Constitution absolutely can be upholded by our sheriff. We need to start contacting our sheriffs. If you do have your local city is overreaching, like with these gun laws, call your sheriff's office. Start talking to them. Start bringing groups with them. Start getting interactive with with politics, this is what happens when we don't get involved anymore and we just sit there and take it. We're sitting ducks right now. So these are some things that you can do. How we were talking about yesterday, the 5G. You can write your letters. You can CC Children's Health Defense for this. Contact your sheriff. Talk to your sheriff and let him know, look, you guys took an oath to protect. Why aren't you doing it? It is absolutely ridiculous and way overreaching to even talk about closing up gun shops at a time like this. They have no authority.
And since we're on the topic of LA County, let's keep going there. Another headline that came out this morning, first thing I saw, was that the mayor of LA has stated that all these non-essential businesses, should they choose to stay in business, he is now threatening to turn off their power and their water. So I hope this is a giant wake-up call to Americans everywhere about how these are incremental steps that are being ratcheted up every single turn. This isn't about a virus anymore, guys. When they are threatening to pull power and water, also, I don't think people understand that when we're under a state of emergency, FEMA gets to call the shots now, and FEMA actually is in charge of our utilities, which means our water and our electricity, our roadways, our airways, our waterways. So this is time for the people to take notice and to really evaluate the freedoms that they're giving up, all in the name of perceived safety.
It really is.
Yes.
I mean, it's not about a virus. It's not about a virus anymore. If it was, different procedures would have been in place. But now they're controlling our food, our water, our electricity, our phones, our travel. I mean, it's pretty alarming to see how many people really support this type of government overreach. It's scary.
It is. Yeah, the coronavirus is the vehicle for which these social, societal changes are occurring. Like a stress test here, you know, live exercise on how far you can go. You know that statement, never let a good crisis go to waste. And during a good crisis, you can do things that you never thought were possible before. Well, we're living that. And you can see, like the president today had a interview, a great interview, where he said, I'd like to see the nation back to work fully and functioning by Easter, by April 10th. And, you know, so he's echoing the advancements of these new therapeutics that they're having success with and the success of social distancing and hygiene that people have been practicing, and the care and concern. And now we're seeing states rolling out stricter measures. Like today in California, advancing, you know, school closures through May. Newsom says maybe through the summer. So what we're seeing here is a positioning of states like California and New York against the federal government saying, we can loosen up. We're seeing success. Let's move on these therapeutics. Let's move on the way to keep the economy going. And the states are pushing back with deeper and stronger restrictions in places. So that should be very telling, that the power play, and a partisan power play at that, is that, you know, people are making this about politics when they shouldn't be at all. Shame on them. Shame on everybody who is advancing agendas and making this about politics and using this time to strip liberties, to do things in the cover of dark, when everyone's trying to act altruistically, for, you know, shame on them.
And Tara, the headline today out of Nevada, that was a shocker. Would you like to speak more on what came out of Nevada today?
Oh yeah, like right there. Governor Sisolak of Nevada did an executive order, like an emergency order today, saying that chloroquine and hydrochloroquine will not be allowed for treatment of coronavirus in Nevada, because that it's untested and unsure. You know, on the heels of the president and countless other countries and countless scientists and countless survivors of coronavirus saying this has been an effective treatment for them. And so again, that's very suspect that, and again, who in their right mind would do that? So what are we waiting for, Governor Sisolak? Are we just gonna stay in like a lockdown for a couple of years till you come up with some dangerous and untested, not even effective vaccine for it? I mean, what's the plan? Because you're seeing actual success at every level with something and you want to make an executive order to block it. Sounds like some dirty politics to me. Heidi, you want to talk more about how the background on that?
Well, yeah, it's really interesting. More and more studies are coming out, about vitamin C being able to treat it, different pharmaceutical products being able to treat it. I've even seen ozone treating it. And the bottom line is that the pharma cartel, does not get to make as big of a profit when we're using things in that manner. I mean, vitamin C is cents on the dollar. Ozone is cents on the dollar too. I mean, these types of things that are working, sorry, I can't get out of my mouth. Anyways, there's all these different therapeutic drugs that are working that keep you out of the hospital because these hospitals are being overrun. So why wouldn't we open those up as an option? Basically, we're at the point where all Americans need to cease operating from fear, and there is no reason you should be stepping into a medical facility, hospital of any kind, unless you are in acute respiratory or coronary distress. That's it. If you have the sniffles, you have the dry cough, you have, some flu-like symptoms, stay home. Get yourself better by slowing down and taking care of your body, exploring some of these therapeutic means with a medical provider via the phone. You can do that. But, I'm really concerned too about a lot of mothers right now are about to give birth. And we're hearing story after story of spouses not being able to be in the delivery room anymore. Like, this is catastrophic. We have gone so far beyond. I'm really, really concerned about all these unintended consequences, like mothers about to give birth. And, this is getting crazy. This is really getting crazy.
Absolutely terrifying. We have now, like, the governor of Nevada practicing medicine. Who is he to tell people that we can't use a certain drug that's been proven to work and to have mothers? I have a very close friend that just had a baby, and as if the environment isn't already built against us, right? We go in, we're told that we have no idea what we're talking about. We're just mothers. We're hormonal. We're overreactive. They already pushed these mothers. I mean, we've been doing this to where we get moms out of the hospital, right? We get them out of the hospital safe. We get babies taken care of. People call us for these issues. But now it's a free-for-all for these medical professionals, because not every doctor is going to be a good doctor. They're human, and humans can be corrupt. So we have these very scared people, mothers already, going into already hostile environment, especially if you decide not to vaccinate, or if you decide to have, a different kind of birth, whatever birth you choose. But now there's no support for them. There's nobody who's going to be able to go into that room and say, stop, this is not the mother's wishes. How many times have we been bullied into medical procedures because we're going to have CPS called on us, or we're going to have, the hospital social services coming to our room? Now what? The consequences of what they're doing for no reason. There's really no reason for a partner to not be able to go into the room with the mother. None whatsoever. So these are the things that people aren't realizing. They think it's just stay at home, just deal with the orders so that way this virus can go away. But what about all these other consequences, like you said, that nobody's really thinking about? There's a huge problem within our medical community. There's a huge problem with the coercion and the corruption because of the pharma cartel. They can give these people as much money as they need. So this is my fear. What I've been seeing is mothers going into the hospitals by themselves, and now if we get called to go help, we can't even do that. That's really, really scary, and it's just a really bad situation for these moms to be in.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
now
and
have, I was just going to say, we have a mother in Idaho now that her midwife isn't even going to show up for home birth anymore now, or her doula, maybe it's her doula. Point being, this is getting ridiculous. This is for a home birth. Who does not show up for that? That's crazy. But also, I just wanted, some of the comments that are coming up are about medications. Yes, there's going to be side effects to everything. And our whole stance is freedom, that you as an individual get the choice to make what's best based off your genetic makeup, your family history, your consultation with your healthcare provider, that all those things are on the table, and that we all acknowledge that medicine is not one size fits all. So for a governor to single-handedly say, absolutely not, when that could be the thing that actually helps somebody that is in their best interest, that's the problem, guys. We're more concerned about the tyranny than the actual drug. Do you guys understand? We're getting sidetracked on a virus and drugs, and we're not focusing on the incremental overreach of the government. Let's pay attention there. Tara, do you want to speak more to that?
well, and we're not even in incremental overreach anymore right now. It's in overdrive. It's just, to all of us at every level, in a way I don't think any of us would have imagined this would come down. Not that I was gonna want to make light of it, but I was thinking there could be not a drinking game, but some kind of a game, like every time we say pharma cartel, everybody like say, yeah, we know who's behind this or who's driving the conversation. No matter what you think the source of the virus is, whether you think it's natural or a bioweapon or some version, of whatever you believe, we know that this situation is being driven by the pharmaceutical industry, by the pharma cartel. And the narrative on that is, when the dust settles, and it really needs to start sooner than that, is the competing narratives that are going to be going here on how we want to go forward in this world. How do we want to go forward? Are we going to be locked down in fear? Are we going to give up every right to be tracked so we can be tracked and safe? Or are we going to fight? Or are we going to demand our inherent human rights and to liberty and freedom, and to use the advances of our society to have the healthiest, communities, individuals, and earth? I mean, that's what we should be lining up on all together on that side.
And this is where, when people say, like, I can't see the comments, but I can imagine when they're saying, every drug has side effects, do vitamin C instead of this pharmaceutical drug. But it is really about the freedom. If somebody chooses to take that pharmaceutical drug over a vitamin that, normally our community would take, that is their decision to make with their healthcare provider. A lot of people want to say the greater good, but look at what that greater good phrase has gotten us. And on on what Tara was saying, they're tracking us now. They're looking at our phones. They're making sure that we are 6 feet apart. They're making sure that we're staying home. This isn't a conspiracy theory. This is something that's posted on mainstream media. They're utilizing our smartphones to track us. This is not for the greater good. This is not about a virus. This is about seeing how much they can take in a short amount of time. We've been having these tests, especially in California and New York. The government has been testing us. When they passed 277, okay, they didn't say anything. They did, but it wasn't an uproar. Then they passed 276, and then New York slowly followed. This is their opportunity to see how much they can take from us, but without getting an uprising. And fear absolutely plays into this. You're sitting at home, you're scared to go outside, you're scared to go to the park, you're scared to take your children out in school, and you are shaming others for going outside, saying, just stop it so we can get this virus to stop. That's not how it's going to stop. It's not how viruses work. And we're seeing our community amongst other communities, other general population, wanting shaming parents. I went to the store today, and the looks I received having my son with me was gross. Like, I almost got into it with a few people because I'm like, why are you staring at me like that? We have to eat. We have to go to the store. We have to get things. It's now that social pressure, the social shaming, and nobody sees anything wrong with them tracking our phones because they want to make sure that we're going to stay home and, protect the general population. It's pretty scary where we're at right now.
Yeah, I mean, for anyone who hasn't heard that headline, do you want to read that one today, Heidi, if you have it handy, or talk about that headline on the cell phone tracking or the cell phone data?
Yeah, let me see if I can find it in my phone here without messing some stuff up. Sorry. Somewhere in here.
And while you're looking, yeah, I mean, you found it?
It was actually yesterday. This was a headline I saw yesterday. Actually, there might be a new one that came out today, but it was saying if you have a smartphone, you're probably contributing to a massive tracking system, and it's revealing where Americans have and haven't been practicing social distancing. On Tuesday, so this was yesterday, a company called Unicast that collects and analyzes phone GPS location data launched a social distancing scoreboard that grades county by county which residents are changing behavior at the urging of health officials. It uses the reduction in the total distance we travel as a rough index for whether we're staying put at home or not. So, that's I mean, I know we consented all to that when we all got smartphones, you know what I mean? But we had no idea what we were truly consenting to at that moment in time. And people think technology is great, but now we have our smartphones being tracked through the GPS, and don't forget about all the Earth satellites in motion above us, guys. In motion means they can track us in motion. This was a new concept even for me the more I went into the 5G as I studied further and further on it. But the Earth satellites in motions, they're a newer technology, and they're meant for the police state, guys. They're not help to advance technology. Their purpose is for more totalitarian lockdown, in my opinion.
And
That's what we're gonna get.
Yeah. So we got, and well, like in that article you just read, so the private-public partnership here, the cell phone tracking data using, the location services at the urging of the health officials, right? The health department officials. Okay, well, this is just,
When did the health
who's
department get so much?
The power here, right? And who's, in their ear? Big pharma. I mean, in this, this is really, sorry, I have to be quiet for 1 second.
I was just gonna say, yeah, this tracking and this telling on each other, people sit back and they think about how we use hyperbole, or we've crossed the line when we start talking about Nazi Germany. But people wonder how it got to that point. This is how it got to that point, guys. This is it. So we need to step back and look at the much bigger picture. So many Americans are caught in the microcosm of what's going on, and they're not looking at the big picture, the global big picture.
Do you want to do some questions, Heidi, if there's any coming up?
Yeah, perfect. Okay, guys, we're going to open it up to questions right now. We have about, 5 minutes or so. I think Denise had to go. She has some family issues, but if anybody has some questions coming up, let us know. Talking about China doing a similar tracking system. Yes, that China is doing that. Numbers that you can call to report your neighbor. Yeah. that's happening. Any other questions right now before we call it a day?
Oh, and before we call it, maybe we should tell them a little about the censoring we're dealing with and how to help get around it, maybe. Maybe
Sure,
people
go
could
ahead.
help share.
Go ahead,
You
do
could.
that while I'm watching for the questions.
Oh. Well, just that we've been dealing with a lot of censorship of these videos, these lives on the Freedom Angel Facebook page. So for right now, we're looking at some ways to have some other platforms to help get them out. But Heidi, I mean, what helps? Like having people share this, does that help, or what does?
Yeah, so the biggest
You
thing,
know, I'm not the tech girl.
okay, and I'm not claiming to be a super tech expert either when it comes to social media. But when it comes to social media, I'm not saying I'm a total expert, but I do know that, yes, sharing, starting a watch party right away when you're watching, when you see our feeds come on, liking Freedom Angels page, subscribing to Freedom Angels page, sending us messages if you're having trouble seeing it. Yes, we're working on it to get on other platforms also, but you need to start paying attention to what, it's kind of interesting how certain people get censored versus other people. What could possibly be the reason for that? Basically, we've noticed that with Freedom Angels from the mobile, if you're on any mobile device, they're wiping our videos completely. Like, you can't see them. You can't find them whatsoever. You can only see them if you go to a computer or a laptop, or on some mobile devices, you have to log in from like DuckDuckGo and go through the mobile route that way to get on Facebook, like not using the app, because the app is definitely hiding our videos right now.
So it sounds like also your watch party idea, starting a watch party for anyone who might be on watching live would be helpful, right? To help break some of that censorship.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
good.
Absolutely.
Any other questions before?
So somebody just said, who do we call to complain about 5G, and how do you find out where the nearest tower is to you? So I think the important thing, do you want to answer that, Tara?
No, I think go ahead, you'd be better.
Okay. So I think what everybody needs to realize first about the 5G is that 4G towers are the huge towers that you're seeing everywhere. And in order for 5G to be effective, they have to put up tens of thousands of more 4G towers first. So you are going to start to see those, almost all of them in the state of California. At least I can speak because I've been on the front lines in California. It's already a done deal. They're going up. As far as the 5G towers or the 5G small cells, you just need to start looking up at telephone poles. They're literally popping up everywhere right now. And the act that was just signed yesterday or the day before in Congress, it was a 5G act. So it's repulsive. You know, for us in the health freedom movement, the 1986 Act is what we're trying to get, repealed. Well, when it comes to 5G and telecom, it's the 1996 Telecom Act that needs repealed. So I don't know what it was with 86 and 96, but those were horrific years where telecom and pharma, the pharma cartel, they came in and bought out our government. So they don't care about health. It's very clear, and they're working together. So basically right now, the biggest thing that we need help with the 5G is joining up with Children's Health Defense and Moms Across America. Yes, to email your school district superintendents, you email your city planning departments or your county planning departments. That's where you're gonna find out where these 4G and 5G towers or small cells have been put up. Soon as you get that information, you want to make sure you're CCing Children's Health Defense on that. Go ahead, Tara.
And there's a website called emfacademy.com. I think it's .com, let me see. Yeah, and they have, like, last year they were trying to develop a model or guide for an evolving guide for where the 5G towers are. I will post it in the links, but again, this is kind of evolving information. And we know that as this is going into hyperdrive right now, hopefully there'll be places that we can find that are able to give us that information more clearly. But
Right.
Really the battle is going to start in your hands, in each of our hands, in each of our communities. And yes, Children's Health Defense is working on a bunch of different levels of strategy around this. And we'll keep updating as some more go, including, there's some other strategies being developed where we can work some boots on the ground actions, I believe, too.
Yeah, we do have some boots on the ground ideas coming up too, and there will be lawsuits as well. Somebody said if we put our phones into oh, so weird. I stopped my recording. Let me try and see if I can record again. No, I don't know why it says that. Anyways, if you put your phone on airplane mode, are they still able to track the location of our devices? Yes, they are. Airplane mode does not disable GPS. I mean, literally, guys, you got to leave your phone at home because that GPS tracker works all the time.
Yeah. That's how they have this data.
Mm-hmm. Yep. It's going, and you know what else tracks you too is, I don't know, those of us who live in urban areas, we have fast tracks. That's tracking us too. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, that, it shows you it's not always going to be possible, right, to go without our cell phones. Why it's going to be so important to fight back against this type of surveillance and this type of system. Why we have to fight back and create protections and freedom around this, where we will not be tracked this way. Where it can't be used against us. There has to be a voice echoing back that this is not okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is not the altruistic means of technology. Everybody says technology is here to make our lives better, but they're not taking into account the ways that it's actually harming us. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, what is fast tracking? Somebody asked. It's called Fast Track, and it's a device that those of us who live in urban areas, especially where there's tollways and bridges that we have to go across, that's what they call it in California. There's tollways all across the country. They have probably different things that they call it, but those things are monitoring, those devices in our cars for that are monitoring us. Not to mention there's quite a few people who have, what is that? Is it called Snapshot? Like Progressive was the first insurance company. It's like a little device that you put into your car and it's tracking you. And supposedly, you get better insurance rates because now it's tracking you. So that's another way you're being tracked if you aren't aware.
Again, why we have to fight for protections against this, against the dark side of these surveillance and data pieces that are being gathered on us, whether we like it or not, because we are living in an age where we have our cell phones and we have them with us. So again, we have to fight to, like the framers who put in, worked so hard on the Constitution, we're going to have to adapt those types of protections for this new technology situation that we're in. And right now we need them more than ever. From the the quote we came up with or read on Bill Gates yesterday or the day before on the, tracking and such to this, you can just see the need is stronger than ever.
Mm-hmm, absolutely. Well, we're at 40 minutes now, so maybe we should call it a day. I don't see any more questions coming, but guys, we will be back every day live at 5 on the weekdays. So set your timers to join us.
We're going to have a few other friends come on with us at times. And also, if you could help us with the censoring, please start watch parties if you're watching.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And anything else Heidi recommended.
Or you guys give us recommendations too. We're just trying to get the word out. Just trying to empower the people to read their Constitution and exercise their constitutional rights.
Well, and we're all gonna, what's emerging right now around the nation is a conflicting approach is starting to show that between this, like, okay, we can get the economy back and going, we can find effective therapeutics, and then another narrative, which is lock it all down, shut it down, less and less things are essential, stay in the house. And this is the kind of narrative that's forming right now. Mm-hmm. And I would say that the battle is on.
Oh yeah, And the battle starts in our mind because that's where they go for first. The subconscious damage that's being done right now, people are far underestimating what they have just put into the human, into our lexicon now. Our vocabulary's changed already in a matter of 2 weeks. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. So true. All right, let's talk about that one tomorrow, maybe.
Okay. Yeah, let's get out 1984 and do some reading through that.
Well, and I think that, right, the truth is, this whole thing is now about fighting for the way forward that we're going to go as humanity. And there's going to be two conflicting paths. Mm-hmm. And we got to, I know the path I'm on. Mm-hmm. And it's maybe we talk about that tomorrow, because I think that really when you put all the things before you, every humanity wants the same things. We want the healthiest, safest, freest world where we, for everyone.
Yeah.
And how to achieve that is what's in question.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All right. On that note, we will see you guys tomorrow at 5 Pacific Standard Time. Have a great night.
Good night.
Good night.